Hello again. This video is about thesis statements and topic sentences for papers. You would never begin a thesis statement for a paper that started with these words. This paper shall prove that, and then ... whatever it is that you would prove. But these words do indicate what a thesis statement needs to do. It needs to prove, it needs to say this paper is going to defend a point of view. It's going to defend an argument that I am stating here, essentially. Now, it may not be a fist in the air kind of argument. It may be a simple perspective of some kind. And it will require you present evidence throughout that supports the claim that you are making in your thesis, the larger claim. And therefore, if you're struggling with how to write a thesis statement, it might help you to consider these words. And if you were going to begin your thesis statement with "this paper shall prove that," what would it be proving? One thing that I have told students who are really in a jam to do might be to say, this paper shall prove that Akbar's ideas about sin suggest he will always understand himself as flawed. I might even say something like tragically flawed. So I might say, if I'm writing my first paper for English 102 about Kaveh Akbar's book, this paper shall prove that Akbar's ideas about sin suggest he will always understand himself as flawed, period. If I started this out, I could then cross this out and I would have my thesis statement. It may not be a perfect thesis statement. I'm probably going to have to tweak it a few times, but this gets me in the direction of where I want to go. And it becomes something that then I can organize a paper around. And so you have to make sure that your thesis has the right size of a scope. It needs to be big enough that it can support multiple points of an argument. Each paragraph, instead of saying this paper shall prove that, might say this paragraph shall prove a smaller point. Your topic sentence, almost always the very first sentence of the topic, should introduce a new point in your larger thesis argument. And so I might say that sin permeates this book's discussion of religion, for instance, and then I'd show evidence from the book that supports this. We're going to go over everybody's thesis statement one at a time in this class. I will probably ask you to revise it because the thesis statement of any paper acts almost like a curtain rod does with curtains. If the curtain rod is firmly anchored on the wall, then the whole paper will flow better. I'm mixing metaphors now. The thesis statement acts as a curtain rod because when the whole paper hangs on a good anchored thesis statement, it becomes something that the student can prove and with evidence shall prove. So even though this paper shall prove that doesn't fit what you should write, the idea is absolutely on target. I hope this is helpful. I'll see you in class.